Yeah, welcome. This is a video series, and this is the first video in the video series. And our goal here is really just to give you an overview of what the video series is about. And what it's going to show us is using Java, JavaFX, SceneBuilder, and MySQL, we're going to look at how to build a really simple desktop application like the one you see in front of you. And we're going to talk about a whole series of interesting concepts. So, how can we build these screens? The idea of logging in our database. Please flip over to it. You can select. We have a database full of volunteers. This one I've only put in 3, all from the Flintstones, but you can see we've got many things of interest in here, like we have encrypted passwords. We have ways of storing links to image files that are dynamically created to ensure that the user has a unique image file. So if we click on Fred here, we can actually update his image file. We can update passwords. We can make people, we can give different roles, like an administrative role or a non-administrative role. And the system will actually behave differently if you're an administrator or not. So the person I logged in as is Fred Flintstone. He's an administrator. So, he can see all the other volunteers. He can actually click on them. He can even make edits to other people. He can see things like a report showing the amount of hours that have been worked by all the volunteers. But if I log in as someone who's not an administrative user, they can only see information about themselves. So they can see the hours that they have worked over time. We can do interesting things, like we can actually change it. So see here, let's go back. Go back into, say, February, and we can log some hours. And it will dynamically update the chart to show that the hours have been worked. So we're going to look at how do we go about doing that? How do we label accesses? How do we read from the database to get this information in the first place? How do we set it up? And because they're not an administrative user, they can't actually change whether they're an administrative user or not, but they can change their image, they can change their passwords, we can update birthdays and all kinds of things. We also have some simple little concepts in here, like we do some validation. So if I like the number 5 and hit save, it's going to say phone numbers have to be a little bit more sophisticated than that. They actually have to follow this pattern, right? So we can do some simple things there. Logout capability. We also look at CSS. So you can see we've added some drop shadows. All of our screens have consistent header styles and whatnot. So there's a lot of little details that we've put into our table, and it's all running through a database. I'm using MySQL as the database, so that every time we add information, it's persistent data, and we can read from it again in the future. So I hope you watch the whole video series. There are several videos. I think at the time of this one, there's at least 28 videos in the series that will step you through each of these things piece by piece. All right. Be sure to also, if you have any questions along the way, you can always find the code is stored on GitHub. So if you go to GitHub/JaredWright/volunteers, you can actually download the actual project. You can clone it, or you can just look at the actual files in there and see the actual code itself relative to the video. So look forward to seeing you in the future videos.